Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. Do you realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world? Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind, doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30pm local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
And this is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night. VK7TW with the mic, and apologies for getting underway a little bit late. Just had to race home and grab some things I'd forgotten. So, but we're underway tonight. Basically, most of tonight is going to be a bit of a wrap-up of the Tassie Ham Radio Conference and Expo. And the good, the bad and the ugly. So that's what most... There are a few things at the end that I might get to. But so the Tassie Ham Radio conference on the Saturday, and then the Expo on the Sunday went off on the weekend. We had huge numbers of people there. Which I'll go into. Of course, it all kicked off actually on Friday night. Friday night up here at the Queen's Domain was the barbecue, and we had, according to our records, about 62 people who came up and enjoyed the fantastic weather we had up here. But also a snag and a hamburger, and there were a whole lot of things. Thank you to Tony VK7VKT for organising all of that. So just went off a treat, and the weather was absolutely perfect. Then on the Saturday, we went into the conference. Now, according to our records, we had 116 attendees who came along. And watched the presentations. Now, the presentations were throughout the day. There was morning tea and afternoon tea, and then there was obviously a lunch break in there. And it was a combination of, some of them were online, some of them were in person. So the very first one that we had was Steve Goodgame, who is K5ATA, which was an online presentation, and he talked about engagement, so the how and why of youth engagement. And g'day to Dave Wilson, and also to Tim VK5ZT, and Tim was there, and Dave looks like he's lamenting the fact that he wasn't there. So so if you're watching via the stream, please let us know where you're coming in from. Say hello, say hi. Always good to know who's there. And if you've got any questions, please ask. So what I have is a bit of a there's some pictures I took, some pictures I didn't take, but I will try and supplement what I'm describing with the pictures as I go. Now just bear with me and I'll hopefully be able to set this up. That's a bit better. Alright, so conference. The conference kicked off. This is the absolutely fantastic Sir Stanley Burberry Theatre at the University of Tasmania with a absolutely immaculate, freshly polished parquetry floor. Thanks to a recent leak from the roof, they ended up polishing the whole floor, which made it look absolutely sparkling. So now, if I get my cursor in the right place. Okay, the very first talk was by Steve Goodgame from the ARRL. He is their education and outreach person. He is a high school teacher, ex-high school teacher who's now taken on this role, I understand, as full-time. Fantastic, and he talked all about how to engage with youth, how to come up with activities which are going to be interesting to them and keep them engaged and then move them forward as they go forward. Absolutely fantastic talk from the US. You wouldn't even have known it was from the US. The fact that it was all online, just absolutely fantastic. So excellent, and thank you Steve. Now the next one was another online presentation. Okay. All right. Which I didn't take a picture of. So the next talk was by Scott Williams, VK5DG. He was in Victoria. For those who don't know, Scott is the current president of the WIA. He has a very impressive remote station, and he basically went through the schematic, the architecture of that remote station, and then we did try a demonstration, but the demonstration gods were against us. We didn't sacrifice the demonstration goat or whatever, so that was our bad. But that was okay. He still went through the presentation and told us about the architecture, how he does this. He's very fond of, when he travels, and he does a lot of travel, of using his iPad, which is connected via 4G, and being able to actually operate his full station, which is the transceivers, the rotator, the antenna, tuning the antenna, positioning the antenna, step IR type tuning, etc., etc., all from his iPad. So never ever miss that elusive DX. So fantastic, thank you, Scott. The next one was by Dr. Kevin and VK4UH. Now, Kevin's an anaesthetist up in Brisbane, and gave us a fascinating look on probably busting some myths too. The myth that he busted for me was, I always thought that I'd been electrocuted, but I actually haven't been electrocuted. I've been shocked, and I haven't been electrocuted because I'm still alive. The definition of electrocution is you actually die. And he went into what that actually does to the heart. And the reason why it stops the heart, and the way that paddles work, the way that AEDs work, etc., etc., etc. So absolutely fascinating from a medical perspective, not an RF perspective, from a medical perspective. So that was fantastic, and thank you, Kevin. The next one was Paul Simmons, VK5PAH. I think that's Paul. Actually, no, that might be Steve. I might have been wrong there. That might be Steve Goodgames. Now, let me go forward here. Oh, there's some of the crowd. Some of the crowd in the Burb. There's co-host Hayden also taking a photo at the time. So that centre section seats about 250, I think, in total. So that's about right. That's about 160 odd people along to the particular 116. Sorry, 116 was what I said. 116. So it's about half full, and that'd be about right. People were reasonably well spaced. So now here's Paul. So VK5PAS, sorry, Papa Alpha Sierra, PAS, Paul Simmons, and Maria was also there, VK5MAZ. Now they are really into worldwide flora and fauna, and Paul took us through the program of worldwide flora and fauna, and how easy it is to actually operate within the resources. Had a great lot of examples of, I suppose, what you call evangelism, with people coming up to him and asking them what are you doing, and so he outlines all about amateur radio and worldwide flora and fauna and all sorts of stuff. So fantastic. Fantastic, and I think I also have a picture of them at the end after the concert. After the Expo, I think they went up to the top of Mount Wellington and activated the park that Mount Wellington's in, as well as doing a soda activation. And Hayden's comment was they're an absolute machine. So there you go. There's another one of Paul. The next talk by Ian Jackson, VK3BUF, was about QRM Guru and dealing with radio interference. And Ian took us through all the sources of interference, ways of detecting it, the QRM kill kits, which were also included in the raffle. So fantastic talk by Ian. The next one, I'm not sure I've got a picture of this. Oh, there's our hard-working volunteers in the foyer. Fortunately, in the Stanley Burberry Theatre, we were able to pipe out the presentations to the big AV screens that were in the foyer, and also the audio. So the volunteers out in the foyer didn't miss out, which is fantastic. Yeah, and there it is. There's the presentation on the big screens in the foyer. Now the next talk. The next talk was Rex, and Rex Moncur, VK7MO, and it was on the trip to Hawaii and why he thought the contact between Hawaii and Los Angeles didn't actually work. So a fascinating talk about why, and the thing I probably took away from that talk was the station in Los Angeles was a 1.8 metre dish with 750 watts into a 1.8 metre dish. So there was a huge amount of power being thrown towards, being thrown towards Rex in Hawaii, but not happening at all. And Sean's online, so hello Sean. That makes ACDC good, bad, oh dear. Okay, now we went to lunch at that stage, and when we came back we had Adam K6ARK about QRP SOTA builds, and this is part of Adam's talk on the screen now. Now, he has shrunk a Pixie QRP transceiver into a postage stamp size device. It is so small, and in fact, even the Morse key is literally a bit of bent wire that connects with a contact on the PCB. He also went into a lot of the antennas he was using, the NFEDs, and how he has actually arranged the 49-to-1 un. He actually has created the ferrite and got the ferrite around the ferrule of the BNC connector, and then fitted it all into, and then put a big bit of heat shrink around it, and just phenomenal. So just fantastic talk. And he's built beer can verticals, he's built all sorts of things. So a really good talk. And that was an online talk from the US, so that was fantastic. The next talk, I think I got a picture of this. Yes, was David VK5KK, who was giving us an update on his 122, 134 gigahertz transceivers And you can see in the foreground there he had one on a tripod, which he very graciously donated the dish and the mount to the club, which is out in the club room. So that is fantastic. We're going to have to organise some transceivers to actually go in that dish. Beautiful dish, beautiful ubiquity dish. And also I've got a little video we'll try and play in a minute around Ian and David then on the Expo day did a demonstration of this at the front of the Burberry Theatre. Now the next one was Roger VK2ZRH. He gave us a talk on G.A. Taylor. And I have to say, G.A. Taylor came across to me. What I took away from the talk was G.A. Taylor was probably the Elon Musk of the sort of the late 1800s, early 1900s. He did absolutely everything. So that was a good talk. Here's David again showing. We used the close-up camera, and he was showing the Android phone app that he uses to control the transceiver. So that was pretty good. We then had Peter VK3BFG from Victoria talking about digital amateur television and amateur television in general around Australia and what's out there, and also he's the custodian and the person who got together VK3RTV. Now, for those who don't know, look up VK3RTV because it is absolutely phenomenal what you can do with VK3RTV. You can route it. You can route from almost any mode to any mode and almost any frequency to any frequency, all through DTMF tones, I think. So that is absolutely fantastic. And Peter Cousins is the driving force behind that. He also left us with a bit of a challenge. He said, it would be fantastic to have an ATV repeater up on Mount Wellington. So that was the the challenge that we were left with. And then the last talk was by yours truly, myself, which was all about how to use your club for amateur radio promotion. To finish off with, and it actually surprisingly I wasn't intending this because I didn't know what Steve Goodgame's talk was going to include, but it actually fitted really good with the first talk. So the first and the last talk really left you with hopefully a bit of inspiration about how to actually promote, how to engage, how to get this hobby out there and around. Now the very last person after me gave a promotion of the ARRL meet, and that was Linda VK7QP, because ARRL meet 2023 is here in Hobart, actually around about the same time in November, and gave a bit of a wrap up on all about ARRL meet. And then we closed all that down, and now the person who opened and in fact the person who opened and closed our conference was Warren VK7/0 Whiskey November. He did a little video for us opening the concert and showing us what it's all about to live down in Casey Station, and then he also closed the conference with a little video that he did for us. So and Warren, I think, is now back in VK7. He was due to fly back today, the 9th. And so I have a feeling that Warren may be here. He's probably absolutely dog tired and has to get used to there being night and day and all sorts of things. So welcome back, Warren, if you're out there, and good luck with the reacclimatisation. Now we move to the 6th, Sunday the 6th, which was the Expo. Now, have I got a deal for you? The Expo, of course, and I'll show you the... now, right in the middle of the studio theatre, which is where the vendors and the information stands were, this is the studio theatre on the Saturday night when we were putting together and putting up the hex beam, which came from All About DX, Kevin. That particular hex beam sat in the middle of the studio theatre. I think I might have a few more pictures here. Yeah, the middle of the studio theatre, above everybody, looking very impressive. Yep, that's where it was. This is the Saturday night when there are a few stands being set up. Then we went into the Saturday. The pre-loved was up in the foyer of the Burb, and then the vendors and the information stands were down in the studio theatre. Here is what we've all been waiting for. And can I just say, I made a 23 centimetre one-way contact and a 5.7 gig ATV contact on the 905, which I posted some photos of on my Facebook page just before I came up here. So I've actually done a one-way contact on 23 centimetres and 5.7 gigs on that particular rig. So I was very impressed that everything worked and worked really, really well. That's the control head. You can see this is the 2.4 gig antenna. This is the 5.7 gig antenna, which was a homebrew antenna. This is the 10 gig transverter. This is the power module that everything plugs into, and to get the power to these two devices there is a bit of Ethernet cable that goes between them, and it is powered via power over Ethernet. So low voltage into this unit, then power over Ethernet to power the other units which are mounted up the mast. So very impressive. They also had a 9700 there, and also a 705 and some handhelds. The new ICT-10 and an ID52, I think, 51 or 52. Now, this is the foyer of the Stanley Burberry Theatre, just moments after they opened the doors at 9 o'clock, and the people absolutely flooded in. Now, according to our records, we had 161 people attend the Expo. So this is a mere fraction of that. So yeah, that's the foyer. Now, Murray and Richard bought the field day van up, and you can see there's a couple of 70 centimetre, 2 metre and 6 metre Moxon beams. Oh, pardon. Let's just have a drink and get the throat working again. So that was outside the Burb, looking very impressive, and lots of great comments about it. Oh, come on. Now, oh, sorry. I'll just go back, because this is a panorama. Oh, I know why this is taking so long. This is a big image. This is a panorama from the door to the door of the studio theatre. You can see Spook Tech had some big beams hung up here. There's the hex beam. This is the Alara stand here, and this is the Spook Tech stand here, and an icon was right in the middle with the big screen. So as we work our way around the room, just here's the Alara stand, and then next door to that was the J-Car stand. There were two guys from J-Car, so they seemed to enjoy themselves. Then there was DX Systems. This is this is Ian and David looking at me. The good picture of the hex beam there. That's looking straight at the ICOM stand, and also off to the right is the Spook Tech stand. This is the Spook Tech stand. The ICOM stand, yeah, that's where you can see the various antennas and bits and pieces. Lots of people quizzing Hero, the ICOM engineer. Now this is VK7ZBX off to the right, on the very right, and then next to them was NTARC with their RFID horse tracking and rider tracking setup. Very impressive setup, and they were talking to lots of people about that particular setup. Then there was Worldwide Flora and Fauna, so that was Paul and Maria. Then there was Tony, VK7 LTD, at the SOTA stand next to Paul. There was Little Devil Antennas, VK7 DY, next to them. You can see there's some high gain beams sitting up there. Then next to Ken was the Hobart Hackerspace, and they had a 3D printer going off there and printing all sorts of things. Next to them was the WIA stand, and they were lots of brochures and foundation license manuals and all sorts of things. Next to them was Volunteer Examiners Australia with Lee Moyle, and then next to them was DX Systems. They had a very, very impressive linear amplifier sitting there that I think a lot of people were drooling over. Now, you can see here, this is the hex beam, but sitting next to this is a 5.7 gig AV ATV dish, which is mine, that I set up to shoot pictures into the 905, and I'll show you a picture of that in a sec. There's DX Systems. There's Lee there talking to someone. There's Peter Clee, the secretary of the WIA. Next to Lee was RAW. This is Rotarians of Amateur Radio, with Diane and a whole bunch of people, Rotarians who were on that stand. And then next to them was JCar. Here's JCar, and then that's JCar again, and also Alara. And we've done a full circle. And there's the there is the, if we zoom in here, there is the 905 with a 10 gig carrier coming from Richards VK7ZBX's ZLPLL. So there you go. It is actually receiving. Rex lent them a little 10 gig horn, which we connected up, and so it there's the 905 on 10 gigs. There's the there it is. There's the little 10 gig horn that we connected up with some connections. Now, David VK5DG with his 122 134 gig transceiver. And then at the other end, here's Ian Crawford, VK5ZD, with his 122 134 gig transceiver. Actually, there you go, Tim. There you are. You're sitting there with Mike, VK7MJ. So Tim's on the stream. Now let's see if we can. That's Paul and Maria, and a couple of other amateurs who I forget their name, and I'm terribly sorry, who all went up to after the expo up to Mount Wellington and set up in the car park and started making contacts for Worldwide Flora and Fauna and SOTA. So there you go. Now just bear with me, because I want to show you. I actually want to show you the video that I really hope is in this folder. Because this is the video. Yes, it is. Lovely. Now, let's just head over here, pull that back to here. Now, where's the video? Let's just pull that back to there, pause it. Now, drop it over here. I'll get there in a minute. Okay, now, let's wind up the volume and start the video. Turn that off. I have to go to transmit there. This is Ian, VK5ZD. Right, yes, but I'm just about flat out on the volume on the 817 to hear you, so definitely the deviation's a bit on the low side. VK5KK from VK5ZD, both portable and VK7. A gallon tin of petrol. Roger, VK5ZD, VK5KK shouting into the microphone. You just may not have an option. And there's VK5KK in the background. So there you go. That's the that was the demonstration at the front of the Burb of the 122 134 gig transceivers. So absolutely fantastic. Now there were also the following pre-loved, see if I can get that focus a bit better. Yeah, that's a bit better. VK7 Whiskey Hotel, Winston, had some great pre-loved equipment. VK7KB, Kim, also had some pre-loved. VK7 LCW and VK7 KRJ also had pre-loved stands, and we're doing brisk trade. And also Reast members were able to actually put their pre-loved all on the Reast stand. So that was another thing that was available to Reast members. Raffles. Now the raffle. I need to announce the raffle. The raffle prizes went to the following people. The IC705 and the backpack went to VK7RX, Bob. The Rig Expert Antenna Analyzer from RF Solutions went to VK4ANL. The 122 gig transverter system from donated by David VK5KK went to VK3 Hotel Yankee HY Gavin. TET Mtron gift card of $250 from obviously TET Mtron went to VK7IG. The Shack Patch Pack by 3 compliments of NTARC went to VK2 NMZ, VK7 TRF and VK3 ATV. The Waxon handheld from Spook Tech went to VK5 XFG. The Diamond SG27 7200 mobile antenna from yours truly went to VK7IO. The 2 QRM kill kits from QRM Guru went to VK7ZLB and VK7 Hotel Whiskey. The Nano VNA from Ham Radio DX went to VK5ZD. The VK5 JST LCD SWR power meter from yours truly went to VK7 VDC. And the 2 handmade original conference pens from Rick, VK7RI up on the northwest coast, went to VK3 DXE and VK5 KK. So fantastic. And the very last thing is the Australian Ham Radio Handbook, which was donated by Peter VK3YE, went to Roberto Di Martino. So we'll get that to Roberto in the not too distant future. So it was a roaring success. I think we're almost to the point where we've reconciled things and we've tried to work things out. Somebody asked, did I buy anything? Well, I did. From Spook Tech, I actually bought a grid pack antenna, so big grid pack antenna. I didn't bring the grid pack in, everyone's seen those. A barbecue grill. But I did buy the 1200 meg feed horn for those grid packs. So I was going to do a bit of a comparison between this and the Yagi. According to this, it's about the same gain. So it'll be interesting to see and do an A/B comparison between the two of them. Very interesting design, reflector, and then the dipole driven element around here, matching balun in here, and then a length of reasonable coax. I don't know what it is, but it does come out as a N-type, which I was fairly impressed with. So, and all the mounting hardware that goes with it. So, really nice. And I'll do the comparison and let you know in a future ATV night. So, Tim, yes, and VK3IK, hello. Great to chat to Mike about the optical records and his optical transceivers. Mike was well and truly one of the pioneers in that space, so he's a fantastic source of information and tells a good yarn as well. So it always helps. Hayden, hello Hayden. Good evening. Online. Now VK3IK, Reast and everyone did a great job coordinating everything. We had an awesome weekend. Excellent. Now, can I just say, there's a bit of confusion out there around the survey. We said that we were going to send out a survey after the event. Now, unfortunately, what happened is Eventbrite automatically sends out a customer satisfaction survey for their service. And people are thinking that that's the survey that we're sending out, and it's actually not. We're about to send out to everyone via email a survey, a much more comprehensive and easier to fill in survey, which is totally relates to the actual conference and the elements of the conference, so that we can get some feedback about it. So apologies for the confusion, but we are sending out in the very near future, probably tomorrow, the survey to everybody who attended. And if you can fill that in and get it back to us, that would be absolutely fantastic, because we can then feed that into whatever the next one looks like, and when the next one actually occurs. So, okay, what I wanted to do here, I had a birthday recently, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I had a birthday recently, and what appeared in the mail was a very nice, let me zoom in here, a very nice Raspberry Pi, 3D printed Raspberry Pi case. That comes apart. This is printed in two bits. That's the top, that's the bottom. And what also appeared in this particular parcel was a personalised one. And Dave, I'll explain who did this in a minute. And he said, I didn't know whether you wanted it that way, or maybe that way. So anyway, I just was very pleased to get a 3D printed case. Now, this has all come from my my best man, David Giles, who is VK5DG in Mount Gambier, and he's playing with 3D printing right at the moment. He has recently retired, so he has a vast amount of time on his hands, and he said, I decided I'd print this, and he said this was my first foray into 3D software and modifying existing cases and putting the call sign into the case. So I was very impressed. Thank you, Dave. Very, very impressed, and I will be actually pressing that into service in the not too distant future for a particular project that I'm doing right at the moment around a firewall Raspberry Pi, a firewall reporting Raspberry Pi. So that's something I might report on in a future episode. Anyway, that's our show for tonight. Thank you to everybody who's called in. And given us some comments. Apologies again for the late start. I did forget the raffle prizes that people were coming up to pick up tonight, so I raced home and picked them up. But the roadworks on Davy Street conspired against me, so we started a bit late. Anyway, enough about that. You don't need to know that. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night. Oops, sorry about that. That was supposed to be a really, really nice, smooth transition. And we get underway next week, same time, same bat channel, and we'll have a whole bucket load of other items, interesting items on that particular night. So 73, and we'll catch you next time.